Hello, and welcome to another episode of Where Our Minds Take Us. Today, I am sitting in the back of a van with my good friends Corin, Dean,
hey, what's up?
and my girlfriend Michaela.
Hello.
We have some loose topics, van dwelling, homelessness, I think we're going to touch on. But these are more or less just guidelines, not so much what our rules are.
And Oregon history also you wanted to
Oh yeah, we can talk. I didn't look anything up about that. So if you know a lot about Oregon history, go for it, man. What do you know about Oregon history, Dean?
Let's see what Google says.
I don't think that's quite.
The Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail.
We need to go back on topic now.
Let's see.
You know,
You
I
died
prefer
from dysentery.
I prefer the Nebraska Trail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did it start in Nebraska? I don't know.
Not sure.
Oregon. What? Oregon looks like it was founded in 1843.
That's not.
But it
too
says
long ago.
1859 right there.
It says 43 right here.
Yeah, but why does that say 1859?
Anonymous government was formed in the Oregon country in 1843. Oh, I guess the Oregon Territory, like boundaries, was formed in 1859.
Or 59?
Yeah.
Whoops. So, anyways, like I said, we're sitting in the back of Corin's van.
What? A van?
Yeah, so Corin is a van dweller. Tell us what that means, Corin.
A van dweller? Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you right now. So, you dwell in a van. No, so basically, I can give, like, to summarize, some things I'm going to talk about. I'll give some context of, like, what it is that what do I have, what was my past van, and, how much it costs and stuff.
It sounds like the way you said that made it sound like a broken relationship. My past van.
Well, it's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
She was hit and run on the side of the street.
She was.
Oh man.
Is that
she
what
was hit
happened?
and run.
Well, and not bad, but he was still able to drive it.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Or maybe I did.
It was hit by an old lady,
Oh, God. How
Oh.
old?
but I got a
no.
bunch of insurance money from it, and it didn't bother me at all. I'm just glad I got it. In fact, every time my vehicles have gotten hit, I have made a lot of money.
You've made more than what you bought the car for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I just think maybe I should just walk out in front of a car for the money.
I know. That's what the guy that bought my parents' house was in an accident.
Yeah.
And he got a bunch of money from
like
it.
have
In
a
Washington
small
or in
injury.
Kaiser?
In the 20. No, it wasn't 24th Street. It was
Was it the one before?
the theater, the house of the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, I gotta ask, too, like, at what point is it worth it?
Well, I totally hear you. Like
Like, if you're, like, your back's broken, you can't walk.
yeah.
Like, well, I got all this money.
Well, yeah. It's what you're.
I guess it's
willing-
better than
Unless
just having a
you're-
broken back.
Unless you're
Suffering for
faking it.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, the military, too, like, it was kind of like everyone wanted to. It was almost like you kind of wanted to get injured so you could get out with, like, medical disability or, like, a disability discharge or whatever, so you could get, like, paid by the government. And, like, it sounds nice and all, but I'm like, do I really want to get out being, like, a disabled, like, non-functioning?
But you do get paid.
But I
for the
get that
rest of your
government
life.
check.
Wow.
All right, back to your van dwelling life.
Yeah. It's
How much did your first van cost? Like after
The
you
first
completed
one?
it?
How much did it cost when you just bought it first?
I bought it from an old man who had it for. He was the first buyer. He
Yeah.
had it for 19 years.
That's like my truck.
Dang.
Yeah.
My truck was first buyer, too.
And he wanted. I got it from him for $1,000. Like,
Damn.
I was like, I'll just give you this, and he had trouble selling, and he sold it, and
Was it a Ford?
it was a Ford Econoline low roof, and it drove fine. It never had a single problem in like the year I had it. So I got super lucky for something with that much miles on it. Like, yeah, So that was great. The cost of the build was probably like 1,000 or 2,000. I didn't put too much into it. The electrical was probably the most, probably 1,000 or 2.
Yeah.
And then just, I put like marine grade carpeting on the floor, and most importantly, I put a 47-inch TV in the side of the wall.
That's all that matters.
That was the main thing. And everything. Now, I had like a couch bed type thing. You've never seen it, have you, Michaela?
I haven't.
Well, it wasn't that nice looking. Let's be honest.
I thought it was nice as this one.
It didn't look bad at all.
Yeah,
honestly, it looked pretty good for the amount of money he spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was decent.
Did you put
this
pine
is definitely
cones
better.
around it?
It was actually just mostly like black and gray on the inside.
Yeah, felt, a lot of felt.
Yeah.
It contoured really nicely. So that I liked the felt, I like how that turned out. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like it was the time it took to build it out. It was so much time and not so much money, but just it's like you pour your life into this thing. You want to have something. I knew I wasn't gonna keep it for very long, like because it was such an old thing and it was a little low roof too.
Yeah.
So.
You were like building your home.
Yeah.
Like. Really?
It was a test. It was $1,000 van, and I spent hardly that much to build it out. So it was like, is this really going to be something for me? And
so what made you want to do that in the first place? Like, how did you get that idea to do that, or did it just like kind of happen?
That's a good question.
You don't even know.
Did you watch videos of it?
Yeah, it was videos, and I was like, I heard about this type of van, this high roof van. The Sprinters typically the Sprinter was the only option for so many years.
Yeah.
And so it's called like Sprinter van conversions. And end of 2016, I was like, I want to do this so bad, and I told my parents, and they actually took it pretty well. And I wanted this particular van that I have now. It's a Ford Transit high roof.
The one we're sitting in.
Yeah, and so it was, from that point on, I told them I wanted to buy this, but I couldn't really afford it. I didn't really have the right circumstances in life. But a year and a half from that point, I would actually go ahead and buy that van. But to answer your question, the reason was like, I don't remember specific. I couldn't tell you exactly, but there was this one blog that kind of went viral.
Yeah.
It was about this guy who got a job at Google, and he just bought a box truck and just took it up to Seattle. And it was like, he just put the box truck on the Google campus. He had showers, he had a gym, he had everything. And he just like saved so much money in Seattle. I was like, what? I should totally do this. And it was like a $10,000 box truck. And
was this before you started building your van?
Yeah, this was like one of the first things that like inspired me.
You think it definitely came from a place of like wanting to be economical?
Yeah, it's like economical. There's a whole like philosophy on like minimalism and BS like that.
Yeah, I mean, I
like.
Consider myself a minimalist too.
Yeah.
Except for when you have a girlfriend, she clutters your apartment.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You have done such a good job to his apartment. Like, he had just a TV sitting on his floor.
Oh, I know.
Literally bare the whole time.
Okay, so in my defense, and for anyone who dares listen to this podcast, your poor souls, God bless you.
Rip.
Being in the Marine Corps, I moved I just moved like over and over and over, like across the world. So it was like I got in this mindset where I had to have a very minimal amount of things. That way I could just pack up and leave anytime I needed.
Huh.
So, and then, I got out of the Marine Corps and I'm like, what do I put in an apartment? I have this huge area with all this space compared to where I've been living before. So I didn't feel like I needed anything. And let's be honest, I don't know how to decorate.
Wasn't the size of your living room in your apartment was the size of your whole room in the Marines?
Pretty much. I mean, my apartment isn't like ginormous or anything, but I mean, it's actually probably a pretty small apartment. It's just
it's
like medium sized.
Yeah, your room when you were in the Marines was like Pretty much like a dorm room.
Yeah, they are. They're like dorm rooms, except shittier and with more cockroaches. But yeah, anyways, that's my little tidbit on minimalism.
Living in a freaking tent and everything that you had to go through.
Well,
It's crazy.
Just like short periods of times we'd live in a tent, like when we were out in the field on field exercises. I mean, Dean, you could do like a whole. You got a tent on your roof and shit.
Rooftop camping.
Yeah, you should start doing rooftop tent living.
Hey, actually, the guy that I sold my other tent to, he bought it for the purpose of like living in it for a few months because
really?
He had to move out of his brother's house.
Really?
Oh shit!
Yeah. But he was just gonna go camp, like pay for a campsite. Let's say in Lyons or Gates or whatever those
Where's
places.
he work?
He works in my old job.
Oh, isn't Lyons or Gates kind of far?
Not really.
Oh,
It's probably like 15, 20 minutes from home. So.
Your old job, I thought, was like.
Arnold.
Oh, that scared me so bad.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. We just took a break.
We got interrupted by a rogue ginger.
Yeah, it's a person.
A second ginger.
Yeah,
Not the
girlfriend ginger. You're just a wannabe ginger. You're not a true blood ginger.
Yes, I am.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, it's like I don't dye my hair.
But we're talking about your tents.
Yeah,
Rooftop tents.
Rooftop tents.
Yes.
They exist.
How often do you use yours?
I honestly would like to use it more since I got the new one.
Well, we gotta go camping, man.
Yeah, we definitely gotta plan some of those trips.
I want to go up to that lookout spot we were at. Up on top of the mountain.
Yeah, it's gotta be a nice weekend.
Yeah, remember? You were with us.
Mm-hmm.
That place was beautiful. We're not going to tell where it was at because we don't want anyone else to know.
Yeah.
Actually, I honestly would. I don't even think I could give directions to it.
I probably could. I've been up there quite a bit. What was that?
My phone.
Oh. I thought maybe Rose was messing with us again. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely use that to live in, I guess.
Yeah, it would be pretty. I think it would be difficult at first because with that style of tent, you have to, take off the cover, unfold it, set all of your stuff inside of it, and then, with him having to, go to work in the morning, he'd have to, take all his stuff out, fold it back up, put the cover back on, and then, he's on his way.
The problem is it's kind of more like conspicuous, whereas Corins' van is like just looks like a work van.
Mm-hmm.
You see a work van near like a job site, it's like okay, normal.
Yeah.
Then
But you got a whole fold out tent on top of a car in the middle of the city.
It's like, that guy's definitely not camping.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because I see like vans like Corins, and I'm like, I wonder if that's him.
Yeah.
I see these vans. I never noticed how many vans like this are around until like you had this one, and now I see them like all over all the time.
Do you see Do you see solar panels in like a vent or anything? Like that's a giveaway.
I don't
pay
see
attention.
these kind of vans that have that. I think it's mostly just work vans. But I always see like the all-wheel drive Mercedes ones, and they obviously have the vents on top and the ladder and stuff like that, and
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
There was actually some guy in my unit in Camp Pendleton that I think lived in his van. He was a Marine, and I just remember I'd see him like in his van in the gym parking lot on base.
Huh.
So I think he technically lived in the barracks. Like he had a barracks room, but then he had that van, and he would just live in the van rather than the barracks room.
Was this in like Okinawa or California?
California, Camp Pendleton, California.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really know him, but I like distinctly remember seeing him.
For some reason, when you said that, I just imagine like a Volkswagen, like the small vans. Is that what it was?
I think it was. It was exactly one of those. Actually, it was so funny.
Like the old Scooby Doo.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was like an old Volkswagen van or whatever.
Funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
He should paint it Mystery Machine.
He has a free place to sleep, and then he gets a van too.
I guess. I don't know. He just, like I said, I don't really know him, so I don't know his reasoning. In fact, I don't know if I ever talked to him, but I just remember seeing him because, like, me and my buddy would go to the gym early in the morning, and he'd be there in his van.
Huh. To put this into perspective, like, the subreddit r van dwellers in 2015 had about 12,000 people subscribed to this van dwellers community subreddit. In 2018, it had about 120,000.
Holy shit.
So that's 10 times as many.
Skyrocketed.
And now, in 2020, it has 600,000.
Wow.
Jesus.
So, do you think the reason why this is trending is maybe because the price of housing has gone up?
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
Especially with our age group, early 20s, I feel like.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say it's more popular with
Mhm.
us?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
You
I
also
think
see, like,
College students and stuff.
you also see, like, retirees. Like, I've seen I'm saying retirees here.
People that have retired.
Yeah, older, like this. I've seen videos. You know, they retire and they just like, I got this money, and then I can like do whatever I want. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, they
with
like
this
to
kind
travel.
of lifestyle, they can travel. They have so much more freedom. You know,
Well, I
I've
mean-
seen that too.
I think a lot of retirees, the ones with more money, just get fucking motorhomes
Yeah.
or trailers.
Huh.
Like my grandpa, I think he either has a motorhome or a trailer. He's bought a few of them, so I always forget what he's on now. But I mean, it's kind of the same. I mean, it's not kind of. It is the same idea. It's the same thing.
Yeah, my grandparents did the same thing. They bought a really expensive Winnebago,
Yeah.
and they sold their house, and then they just started traveling in between Oregon, California, and Arizona.
Yeah.
But after maybe a year or two, they eventually settled down and got tired of it and bought a house in Arizona. So now they just travel back and forth from Arizona to Oregon.
It's an old person hotspot, Arizona.
Yeah.
It's the dry heat they like, I think.
Huh.
At least that's what I've heard.
That'd be
I don't
nice.
know. I mean, it gets so hot there, though. I've never been there, but, so I've heard. And, like, I've been, in Southern California in the desert out there. And, oh, my God, it just gets so hot.
I've only been to Arizona in the springtime, and I don't want to be there in the summer.
No.
It'd be
Wow.
very hot. Like it's like in the 80s in like March and April.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 29 Palms in California. It's, like, part of the Mojave, I think. It would get, like, 110 degrees during the summer.
Mhm.
Like, not
Vegas
just
is like
once in a
that,
while.
too.
Like, it'd be multiple days in a row.
Yeah.
And then they'd have sandstorms. Be like sand blowing in your eyes. Place was
Wow.
awful.
Also interesting, like you're
Yeah,
you
Vegas
live
is in the same area.
you live in a dry state, but there's like these waterway trenches just everywhere. for, like,
Aqueducts.
aqueducts, is that what they call
Yeah,
them?
that's what they're called.
But it's just like you see them everywhere, and there's like every time you're there, there's just no rain.
Yeah.
But then sometimes there's just
Have you seen those
lot.
huge aqueducts like coming into LA
mm-mm.
in the mountains? I don't know. It's pretty
I'm
cool.
guessing
looking.
it's probably for snow melt.
They're just these like giant concrete aqueducts like going through the mountains down towards LA.
Hmm.
Like when you're coming south from north. But I don't know. It's just interesting, I guess.
Huh.
They have to like divert water from out of state just to
Yeah.
like sustain themselves. It's kind of funny, just like we as humans, we insist on living in these like kind of inhospitable places.
Yeah.
And then California is like what, the most populated state in the country? And they like can't even like they don't have enough water. Like
Yeah.
this is insane.
So I guess a big question for me is, where do you park your van?
Oh yeah, that's a good
Maybe
question. So it depends. Like, basically, for some context, I'm 24 years old and I work in construction, and I have my tools in my van, and so like during the day I'm on a construction site and I have a construction vehicle.
It's more in construction.
Well, I'm an electrician.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Don't be modest. Construction makes it sound like you're just some random laborer.
Yeah. So that's during the daytime, and it's so obviously that takes care of most of the day. But during nights, you can have day spots and night spots, and you got to be strategic about it. So night spots, for me, like you'd be like you don't stay necessarily in the same spot every night. You cycle through your different spots. You eventually find some good spots. Depending on the circumstances, and so it's like you go to that spot, you shut off the lights, no sounds, you go to sleep. That's all you do. You don't get out of the van, you don't do anything. So, and then
didn't you say you slept or stayed on the job site before, or is that just not possible most of the time?
For me, I can, have my construction vehicle next to a construction site. Like most of the time, which is super nice. I just get up and go to work. No commute.
How many times do you think that you've been woken up in the middle of the night by somebody knocking on your van or a cop?
Yeah.
So the first van I had, which was the cheap old van, low roof, I had the cops called on me 3 times. Mostly for being in a more affluent area, and
then you decided to put some reflective tape on the back to make it more like a construction van.
Yeah, it still looks like, okay, so one time I parked near a construction site, a construction vehicle, and the neighbors were super uptight. They were like patrolling the area. They were like, and they literally fined a company for going to work before 7. So like they drove up before 7, then they had people watching. And they slapped them with a $500 fine.
So was this a residential area?
A residential neighborhood that was new, that was being constructed.
Was this like in a HOA?
It was what?
Was there like a HOA there doing this, or?
I don't know who it was, to be honest, but they were, so, I thought like, there's a construction site, I can just park here and be fine, but no, they called the cops on me. And the cop was super cool. He's like, dude, if I was in your position, I'd be doing the same thing. He literally said that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just going to, obviously I'll park somewhere else. And he's like, yeah, okay. And the other 2 times, like, I was at the gym and I was like, you know what? If I park here and the sun sets and people don't park next to me, it's going to look really sketchy. And then I forgot about it, and I was like listening to an audiobook or whatever. I was doing music, and I was planning on going to the gym, obviously, but then the sun set and people didn't park next to me, and then it looked super sketchy, and I got the cops calling me.
And what'd they do that time?
That guy was kind of suspicious. He's like, well, what are you doing? He's like, why don't you just like get a place, man? I'm like, dude, okay. No, but that guy was the only,
Why don't you just get a place?
Right? Yeah, this is my old sketchy van.
Okay. Was he older?
So no, he was like 30s.
Oh.
And then the third time was, and this is all in my old van. I've never been, in the year and 10 months I've had my new van, I've not had the cops call on me or anything.
To be honest, it's probably just because it looks newer and nicer.
So much nicer. It's a major upgrade.
And the like higher roof, I think, makes it look less like a creep van.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the stereotypical like creep van are those, like the old one you had.
Yeah.
Like
we always joked around by spray painting free candy on the side of your van.
Wait, did you really?
No, the old one, yeah.
Just joked. No,
no, like we would go into.
You were talking.
We would go like into the like paint app on our phones and like you
care if I get that beer?
Oh sure.
Okay.
And then what was the third time? I was I just parked in it. It was like one of the first nights I tried sleeping in it. I tried doing it in a nice neighborhood and like.
I remember this.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, I thought I was parked in a good spot, just kind of out of the way, whatever. But they called the cops, and I was like, oh, I'll just park somewhere else.
It was a lady cop that time, right?
Yep, lady cop.
She was nice.
She was pretty nice.
Okay.
But in my new van, I've never had the cops call me, but I've had 2 noises kind of wake me up, both times in the Walmart parking lot. But yeah, it's not bad. Like,
so don't park at Walmart.
Yeah, 2 noise disturbances in a year and 10 months.
Didn't you have like a
That's not bad.
tweaker try to get into your van while you were sleeping?
Yeah, they like knocked on my van.
Yeah.
And
I remember you
then
telling me that.
I ignored them and they went away.
You ever think about getting like a gun?
So I've thought about that a fair amount, and problem is that if a cop were to like check my plates or something, it'd be like, this person has a gun. It's not a good thing.
If they knock on your door, and usually, in a traffic stop, immediately before you say anything else, you say, "Officer, I'm carrying a concealed firearm."
Yeah.
But then my problem with that is, you've seen it, and people do that, and then, I'm not saying all cops, but depending on the cop, they get like nervous.
Well, yeah, everyone. I think every cop gets some sort of nerves.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not saying it's not normal. It's just like it makes a potentially calm situation get just a little more tense.
It's like put my van in maybe a somewhat suspicious of a parking situation.
Yeah.
And then they a cop comes by and checks me. It's like, this person has a gun,
and
like,
he's living here out on the street.
Situation I want to be in.
Right. There's ways you could get around it.
I have.
You get like a taser.
No comment.
They can always be like super aggressive at first, but then calm down once they realize you're not a threat.
Oh yeah, I have pepper spray.
Yeah.
Pepper spray.
My dad, he gave me a taser and brass knuckles to protect myself.
Have you ever used the brass knuckles?
I've wanted to. It looks fun.
I have that revolver I just bought, but it's not like super practical for self-defense.
Yeah.
6 bullets.
6 bullets and it's 45. Like blow their brains out. Just overkill. Oh, it's accurate. Shot it better than me, you bastard, Dean.
I missed that.
Yeah, you should go next time. We should go again.
Yeah, I told you I was gonna build an AR-15, right?
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Are you actually gonna do it?
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
have
have
that receiver, right?
Yeah, I got the lower receiver, but I have a catalog where I have all the parts lists that I can order.
Yeah, I want to do that too eventually. Maybe not right now, but I want to get a reloading station as well. Start reloading my own rounds.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't know, it's just expensive, especially for that 45. I went through that box of 50 in like 30 minutes, not even like 20 minutes.
It's pretty fast.
Excuse me.
But I think on back to the van subject, I think on Corins' old van, I think the best quality of that van was
the TV.
No.
47 inch TV.
That megaphone that played animal sounds.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Dude, I need to install that in my new van.
So
barn animal noises.
Yeah. If you're listening, he had a
system. It was like a PA system
that played barn animal noises
and ice cream truck music. It had like 70 songs of ice cream truck music.
Just imagine like being in that sketchy van playing ice cream music going down the road.
Could you talk through it too? I can't remember.
Well, technically, I think the audio quality was pretty bad.
Yeah, you could, but it was like, I guess, significantly like lower volume than the animal sounds.
Oh. I remember
that's right.
Dylan had a PA system on his truck in high school. And I remember one time driving through Staten and just yelling at random people outside on the sidewalk while we're driving by. I remember yelling at some lady and she was like looking around trying to figure out who was talking.
One time, one of my coworkers in construction, he was walking across the street in front of me and I just let out a big horse neigh. And he was like, what the heck is that? He like looks around and then he sees me. He's like, God dang it.
Just a big horse.
Yeah.
I remember you doing that, the cow and the frog and the cat in downtown Salem while people were crossing the street. That was pretty funny.
And whenever I was in heavy traffic, I would do the ice cream truck music. And one time my coworker was like a couple of cars ahead of me. He's like, wow, bro. You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, man.
So funny.
Hey, you probably could have made a few bucks by selling ice cream.
Yeah, you should have just kept ice cream.
Side hustle just after work.
In traffic jams, just be selling ice cream to people.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea. There you go. New business idea.
But my reasons for doing it, there's kind of two camps in this whole van dwellers community. There's people who do it to travel, like nomads, gypsies, people just looking to escape the grind, and then the other camp is people who are just looking for cheap rent. So
especially
I'm
in
definitely
Oregon.
in that camp. I've been asked this, but I don't know how much I would save. On average, like let's say $400 to $700 a month per month, and it really depends. It's kind of a complicated thing because, like, what I pay, I get to keep some of that, but there's some interest. I figure like my van depreciates at like two to $300 a month, and then interest is like $50 a month. So
$200 to $300 a month.
Yeah, for the
Jeez.
first year. Yeah.
What about after the first year?
Eventually, the depreciation slows down, and see, it's complicated because if I build it out and it increases in value $20,000,
Yeah,
like these things sell for so much. I was
pre-built ones.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy local who was building them out. He said he and two of his buddies spent 1 month building out a Sprinter.
Yeah.
And they sold it and they made $18,000.
Damn.
So
Dang.
it's like people are like, "Oh, you spend so much, $1,200 heater," but if I build this out and it appreciates in value like $20,000, I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, like,
all the money's
what's the alternative? Like me, I'm paying like stupid amounts of money for an apartment that I don't own, and
oh yeah,
I'm never gonna be able to sell it. Obviously, it's just like literally a black pit of money, just so I can be alive, just so I'm not like
Or I
on the
guess
street.
not be homeless.
Yeah, which like I can afford that, I guess, but not everyone can, and right now I can afford it. I don't know.
True, yeah.
Eventually, maybe not. Who knows? But
And yours is a 1-bedroom?
2-bedroom.
2-bedroom. Okay,
Yeah.
that's better.
I could get a roommate, but like
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
Yeah. Wow.
I
1,400 a month. 1,400 a month for 2 bedrooms.
13. Oregon's
Jeez.
expensive.
It's so
Oh,
much
West
money.
Coast is expensive. I bet van building's super popular on the West Coast,
Dude.
huh?
Yeah.
Just any alternative to paying rent for any
Mhm.
place. And it's just like, I think one thing that plays into it too is Oregon's gotten noticed in the last like couple years, I feel
Mhm.
like. So people are starting to move here a lot,
Uh-huh.
which demand for housing goes up, prices go up, and then
Most people from California move up here.
yeah.
Mhm.
And the thing about Oregon too is I don't feel like the wages are scaling with the price of housing up here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like I look at jobs here compared to other states that are cheaper to live in, and the
Yeah.
same positions pay more there. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why? How does that make any sense? I mean, realistically, it's probably just more demand for those jobs that I'm looking at there. But
For like
It sucks.
the housing cost, like for example, I was talking with an old coworker of mine, and just like a few months ago, like from
yeah,
from working in Washington, he just moved from Texas, and he was saying that the houses for sale here were so expensive that you could get like a 4 to 5 bedroom house.
oh yeah,
in Texas for the same price you can get a 2-bedroom house in Oregon.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I interviewed and was looking at a job in Nebraska in
Mhm.
Omaha. So I was just curious. So I was looking at houses out there, and they're like nice houses, like you said, 5-bedroom, like several thousand square feet, like multi-bathroom with like an acre of land in like nice areas, and they were like 500,000. Out here, 500, that house would be like over $1 million.
Yeah.
That'd be like $1.5 million probably.
Yeah.
It's probably like twice or 3 times the price.
I will say for electricians, like, we make way more over here. Like, so we
Oregon.
make more here, but the cost of housing is higher. So it's kind of fair.
Yeah.
In Texas, you're not going to make
Yeah.
nearly as much, especially like the Georgia and that kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
gonna make crap money.
Georgia's super cheap.
The weaker the union presence is, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's union.
That helps a lot. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
I don't know what it. I think those because I work in IT. Those like more rural areas. They're. I'm assuming they're in more need of IT people because people don't want to live in places like that. So it seems like they. I'm not saying they pay like a ton or anything crazy. They just pay more than you would expect areas like that to pay. It seems like the wages for IT has scaled above the cost of living in areas like that. Whereas out here, I feel like it's below.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is just, don't quote me on this. I'm just saying what I've observed or what I think.
Don't quote me on this. Isaac Zilverberg 2020.
Yeah, that's my presidential campaign.
Don't quote me.
So it costs housing, and so that's definitely one reason why I do it. And some of that money I get to keep. It's not all going away.
Yeah.
And it's my own place. I can do what I want. And so also traffic is pretty bad where I work. So like, let's say I have a bunch of like schoolwork to do. I can just not go to do it through traffic. I can just do a bunch of schoolwork and then just like park where I'm going to work the next day.
Yeah.
And just not drive. So I have a lot more flexibility for traffic.
That's nice.
And then, yeah, it's just like an awesome camper to have. And I can literally fit everything I own in here.
And you
like
live where you drive.
Just everything, and I could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Just the freedom is awesome.
You ever thought about going on any big road trips with it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Have you? I don't even.
No, I have not.
No. You should. No. Yeah. Even just in Oregon, there's places.
We were talking about doing one like early summer.
Yeah.
Going down like east, going to Smith Rock, then coming back, going down, and then going all the way to like Florence or Coos Bay, and going all the way back up the coast, and then doing like a big loop.
Would you take time off for that, or?
Yeah, probably about a week.
Sorry.
Stay in one place about a day and a half or two.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Dude, when I journey out, like the apprenticeship school locks you down. They are onto you, dude. You have to be working, not laid off. So anyways, once I journey out, dude, I'm free. I'm going to take at least a month off.
So
I would love to take a year off, but that might be too
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like, you can't take any time off, or?
You can, you could probably take a month off if you schedule it beforehand for the school, but you got to make sure you do all the schoolwork.
Yeah. So what happens if you were to get laid off? Like,
you just get a new job. You have to get a new job.
So it's not like they're like, you're out of the program.
Yeah,
no, you just have to go find a new place.
But you can't drag your feet and be on unemployment.
Right.
Well, the economy's been so good, so yeah, they'd be like, dude, you gotta get a job.
For now, it is.
Yeah.
The stock market's crashed pretty bad with the coronavirus scare.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous about that, but see, that's one thing you were saying. It doesn't make you nervous at all earlier, and it's stupid. But like, my thing with the coronavirus isn't so much I'm terrified or scared of the virus itself.
Yeah. Because
like we're all young, we're probably gonna be fine. But it's the effects it's gonna have on our economy.
Yeah.
So two things, like mass hysteria. People are already freaking out and buying everything in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a funny story.
And then two, like I said, the economic crash. So what was it? I read like the Dow Jones like dropped like, again, don't quote me on this, but it like dropped like record numbers in like 150 years or something like that since like the Great Depression. Yeah, this thing is like crashed the market.
I heard it was since 2008.
Oh, really?
That's just one headline I read.
Yeah, during 2008 there was a big...
The recession.
Yeah,
they're calling it the Great Recession now.
I don't know if I feel like it's as bad as it was back then.
2008? Well, I mean, we're not going to see the effects immediately.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, one day of dropped stocks isn't going to suddenly make society go up in flames. But
yeah.
So it was kind of funny with the scare of the coronavirus being in the U.S. My dad just like randomly decided to go and buy some face masks for dust.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were all sold out of
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They're actually telling people not to buy face masks.
Yeah, it's just like insane.
'Cause they
everyone's
need them.
freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like I said, I put money in medical supply companies on just the other day because once this rebounds, I feel like which I think it will eventually. It may be fast, it may be longer, I don't know.
Isn't it the coronavirus just like mostly affecting like people over 60? Like the death rate is higher?
Yeah, so from what I actually looked through the statistics quite a bit on like CDC and WHO. Essentially, like if you're between the ages of like I think 18 and 50 or 40, the death rate is like 0.2%.
Oh well.
So it's pretty low,
Mm-hmm.
but for people over like the age of like 60 or 70, it gets up to like 15-20%. And I've read things kind of going both ways. Some people say it's worse than it is, and some people say it's not as bad as it is. So like on one hand, people are saying like, cases are going unreported, like we don't really know, China's covering it up.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, there's people saying like, that's just the thing, cases are unreported, so we're only getting numbers from the people who are bad enough to even come into the hospital at all, which means there's a lot more people out there that are probably perfectly fine that have it and don't come into the hospital at all.
Mm-hmm.
Which means the death rate is even lower. But essentially what it does is it's like the flu in a way, but it generally causes complications with people with respiratory syndromes, and it causes pneumonia, and obviously older people die from pneumonia, pneumonia. So it can be pretty dangerous to them, but if you're young and healthy, it's not too much of a worry. But I have asthma too, so it's a little sketchy, but I think I'd be fine. But we'll see, I guess. I definitely think the big thing to worry about is the economic and societal impact it has. And then also, let's say 2% is accurate. Let's just assume that's accurate. That's, imagine 100 million people get infected. That's 2 million people dead. That's a lot of people. And, like, our hospitals can't handle that many people.
Is that a plane?
What?
That's a low-flying plane.
I've never heard of a plane that low.
Dang.
It's probably bombing us. China's bombing us
Probably.
now.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, they're dropping the coronavirus on us.
They're dropping empty boxes where somebody is breathed in.
It's not even like medical or scientific at all. There's just a conveyor line of people breathing into boxes.
But with Corins' van, you had a bed in your older one,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have a hammock in the one we're in now. What sleeping arrangement do you like better?
So, to give a little context, I've been doing this for about over 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. No, 2 years. Just over 2 years, I think. Yeah. And so 2 vans, and I currently now have a high roof van. It's a high roof Ford Transit. I bought it brand new for $34,500. And yeah, like you said, I was on a bed before, and now I have a hammock. Basically, I have a system of recessed steel D-rings that are spring-loaded, and you can attach about 2 or 3 hammocks in parallel. And I like sleeping in a hammock. Definitely, it just gets the bed out of the way. That's like 60% of the van for most builds, so I can walk around. And a couple other advantages of a hammock that you might not know of is that it's better in the summer because you can just have a hammock and have the cool air below you, like no insulation below you.
Yeah.
And also, if you park it, like, suppose you're parked on the side of a road where you're tilted, the hammock levels itself out.
Huh.
So,
Well,
that's a good point.
have you ever thought about having a bed that folds out?
I haven't really seen a lot of folding out beds that look too good.
Oh.
I think
It's really difficult to have transforming furniture. It's like if it's slightly difficult to do a transforming situation, you're just never gonna do it. It's just always gonna be a bed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just mostly like a permanent
Right.
thing for a
Yeah.
bed.
And I feel like for me personally, a big thing would be, like you said, the leveling out. Because if you're on unlevel ground and you have a bed, there's no way to fix that unless you get like create some weird, like, I don't know.
You have like
auto-
leveling blocks you can
Yeah.
drive on.
Yeah.
or you can.
And and
Yeah.
I'm 6'3", so my bed has to be like super long. It's
That'd be like
ridiculous.
almost all the van.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think hammocks probably definitely better in a lot of ways. Although, sometimes you do just miss a bed. I imagine. No,
No, I guess not.
no.
It's
Okay,
been about a year and 10 months, and no,
you don't miss
I miss a
beds
bed.
at all. Okay.
I like a hammock. Hammocks are super comfortable, dude. People always ask me like, do you sleep behind a hammock? Yes, every night. I love hammocks.
Huh.
It's becoming super popular instead of tent camping to use hammocks between trees,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. There's a couple tricks you got to think about keeping it as tight enough, level it out. I have a couple pillows and blankets under my hammock bottom to keep levels it out. Yeah, it's great.
It sounds good.
And so yeah, I've spent about $40,000 for the total build over roughly.
Damn.
And it's an EcoBoost non-extended Ford Transit with cruise control and a super good backup camera. And I'm 6'3", and with about 3 inches of framing and insulation, I can still walk around. And I have virtually as much electricity as I need.
Nice.
I have a lithium battery
Separate
That-
from your
separate.
the
Separate.
vehicle's battery.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking. This is it right here.
Yeah, it was expensive, but it was worth it. It's like the same battery technology they put in Teslas.
Doesn't matter.
And I can go 5 days without any charge whatsoever under normal usage.
Wow. How do you charge it off the van battery or the van, or like how do you charge it?
I think wall outlet.
They came out with a battery-to-battery charger about a year ago. Well, there was one, but it was kind of crappy.
Is there any way the alternator could be like
That's what it's
jerry
yeah, it's-
rigged up to?
It's charged from the alternator. It's
Okay.
like it's basically 500 watts. It's like half a microwave's worth of electricity.
Mhm.
Just is pumped into my lithium battery. That thing absorbs electricity like crazy.
Yeah.
As compared to like a deep cycle battery, it's so much better in just about every way.
Just like some battery mind fuckery.
Dude,
Deep cycle and lithium.
yeah. There's so much,
I don't know
dude,
what
there's
that
so much
means.
to it. And yeah, it's got a refrigerator. It's got
Storage. Lots of
a
storage.
pathetic kitchen setup. Just pathetic.
Are you
I'm
talking
not
about
much
the
of a
sink
cook.
right here?
Yeah.
Think you'll ever like put in like a stove or something?
Yeah, didn't you have a little?
He's got a Coleman
Stove?
stove.
Yeah, I got a little
Okay.
butane thing. I can cook burgers and
Yeah. Do you often?
stir fry.
Or?
No,
No.
it's not for a while.
You mostly eat out.
Yeah, I do a lot of eating out, but also like just sandwiches, PB&J a lot.
Yeah.
I think the last time he cooked in here was when we were at Mount Hood.
Oh yeah, we were at the mountain and we made French toast.
Ooh.
It smells so good.
French toast and sausage.
People were walking by. There was like 3 of us cooking in here.
Up on the mountain.
Yeah.
Is that when you guys stayed there?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys got a
campsite.
cabin,
Yeah.
or you stayed?
No,
at a
we
campsite?
stayed at a what was it? The
RV,
the
technically
village,
an
the
RV
village.
campsite. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
then we drove to the.
And it was awful. It was raining.
Yeah. which was the worst spot. But we drove to the parking lot for Ski Bowl and started making breakfast.
Let's take another break real quick. I gotta piss. Homeless people.
It's a problem. No, we were just talking about how people... We were walking by some homeless people, and some cars were honking their horns like when these homeless people are trying to sleep. And we asked the homeless people, and they're like, yeah, it happens all the time.
Well, you gotta add in that it was past midnight also.
Yeah.
Oh, midnight. Yeah,
Salem's gotten so bad, though.
It's really bad.
It's like the entire downtown area is like a giant homeless like camp now.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that they drove them in trucks down here.
Who drove them in?
I heard they come from California and Seattle. And...
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Makes
I heard
sense.
they give them tickets. But...
Probably because the laws are different down here.
Mhm.
What do
I
you
know
mean?
that like camping on sidewalks and stuff. I know that.
I mean, there's tons of homeless camps in California too, though.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I know in
Go through
Washington.
LA.
I know in Washington they have a very strict rule. Like, you're going through Portland and you're seeing tents on the side of I-5.
Yeah.
And then you literally cross over the border into Washington and you don't see anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just completely different.
Well, I mean, I know they have a lot of homeless up there too. I think they're probably just
I think they're
more hidden.
yeah.
Yeah.
Out of
Which
sight.
doesn't really make it any less of a problem. It just, I guess, makes it less of an eyesore. But
That's what I think the good thing about them being on Riverbend's property was they were just in deep forest, like not
in where?
Riverbend in West Salem.
Oh yeah.
To
They
put
were
context of the situation, the homeless population in Salem, Oregon was just almost entirely camped out in this forested area in this park. Just hidden away in these trees,
It wasn't a park. It was on the property of a rock quarry.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
So
been
just
over
out
there
of the
back then.
city,
Yeah.
just to cross this bridge in this park, really?
So what they
Yeah,
just
it's like pretty much you can go to Wallace Marine Park and then keep going past the baseball fields and just right out there, and you'll eventually just run into tents.
So
This was like a couple years ago.
They're
so they were
camped out.
in this forest, and then they were forced out, and now it's this massive problem in the
Yeah.
streets.
They're just
the entire like mall is like surrounded by camps.
they
now.
actually that whole line
Yeah.
behind the back of that building. There's nothing there no more.
Oh really?
Really?
Yeah, they all moved.
I
We're not
noticed
sure
that
where.
before, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're more by behind by the mall
Oh
under the Sky
Mhm.
Bridge.
yeah.
But I don't know where most of them went.
I noticed where 22, Highway 22 and I-5 intersect over by Airport Road. Off to the side of that, there's a kind of a wooded area, and there's like a huge like camp thing set up there.
I know I've heard of that RV park that's behind Home Depot.
Yeah.
I know they're back there somewhere too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's got
Well,
They're just
it's
pretty much
exploded.
they were all in one place at Riverbend, but now since they kicked them all out, everybody's scattered pretty much.
So here's my thing about homeless people, though. It's not my thing. I don't know why I said that. But the thing about it is, I can't figure out, like, I hear kind of like with the coronavirus, too. There's just always conflicting reports for everything. And maybe the best thing to do would just be go out there and talk to some of them. You know, but then again, I don't know if that's a good idea. But,
Like talk to someone as like a homeless person?
yeah, some of the homeless people.
Yeah.
But, like, I've heard, there's lots of programs and stuff out there that helps them and, like, offers them food. So, like, and one thing that's weird to me is you don't actually see any of these people begging for food.
Just more
And-
money.
Yeah. I don't even see them begging for money around here either.
Really?
Not really. I mean, I do see a few, but not a majority of them are just down there on the sidewalks.
Mm.
So, anyways, what I'm getting to is you get a lot of people saying, like, these people don't want help, and a lot of people saying that they, need help, they just don't have help. And I honestly I don't know what the truth is anymore.
A lot of them are registered sex offenders.
Well, some of them I've heard.
A
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know that for a fact?
I do. I don't know the exact statistic, but I do know that it's.
Okay, let's assume some of them are. That I mean, I'm sure some of them aren't too.
I feel like that most
The rest
like,
of them are on drugs.
Yeah, I feel like
I wouldn't
some of
say
them.
all of them, but
Some of them
a lot
like
of them probably are.
some of them like they choose the lifestyle, but then there's the other half that is just in a hard place.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I don't not agree that there's some that are not in a good place, but I think a majority of them are kind of substance abusers.
Honestly, I think.
Well, from what I've
Yeah.
seen.
My personal opinion is most of them are, maybe not most, but a good portion of them are just mentally like unstable or handicapped in some way. And
Well, I also know one other thing is, our healthcare system, the Oregon State Hospital. A lot of the times they'll just kick them out. It's the mental hospital, and they'll just kick them out, and they won't have any place to go.
yeah, well, I mean, part of that is I know. So during like the Reagan presidency, there's a whole restructure of the mental health care system essentially, and they more or less raised the bar for what it meant to be, crazy, for lack of a better word. So a lot of people that probably should be institutionalized and were institutionalized were essentially just let out on the street, because now these people that were in an institute that were getting help or being taken care of were no longer being taken care of, and these people they didn't change. They still have the same mental issues that they had before, and I've heard that side a lot, and that's why the homeless problem has gotten worse. Yeah, it's a lot of little things, honestly. I don't think you could say any one thing is more or less than the other, but I definitely think that plays a big part into it, personally. That, like I said, a lot of these people they need help, and they're not people that necessarily are going to find the help for themselves.
No.
So, and I mean, what do you do about that?
I think it's our healthcare system.
Yeah.
Because just from people I know who have worked at the state hospital, it can cost up to $40,000 a month just to house one patient.
Right.
Jeez.
Wow.
What are those?
And that's a fact.
Well, that's
what
just
is that called?
bureaucracy.
The halfway houses? Is that what they're called?
What
Mhm.
about?
Well, how is that like? What if they were put into in those kind of the housing where there's like a bunch of people living in one house? I wonder how much that would cost.
So like your mom, Michaela's mom, has said one issue that comes up with that is the lawsuits. So that someone gets hurt in these houses, someone attacks someone, and then they're suddenly suing the people that own these houses. It's a big liability.
Jeez.
And
I've
then
never heard of that before.
Yeah,
Me neither.
another thing too, you got to think of, like I said, attacking people. Like, you got to be. How choosy do you be? How choosy are you? Let's say you're the person who owns these, or the company that owns these buildings, and you're about to let these homeless people in. How do you choose who is and isn't allowed in? So like, you're just gonna let everyone in. Some of these people are, maybe sex offenders, violent felons. Some of them may be, very mentally unstable, like shouldn't be around other people. And if you have no policy, no standard of who can be let in, you let everyone in, you can obviously see where the problems are going to arise from that. But on the other hand, too, if you make it too strict, then a lot of these people aren't going to be able to get in, and it's not solving any issue.
Yeah, there has to be like a policy.
Yeah.
Like I think the most people that would actually go into it are the people that actually like want to better their life.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people that do, a lot of the ones that do, I think, are already out there getting and finding the help they need. And there are programs out there like Union Gospel Mission that provide housing for people like that.
Yeah, I just think, these people being on the streets, it's not giving them good incentives to do good things. It's really just because, honestly, going to prison is probably better than their situation.
I mean, I don't think they want to go to prison.
But it's housing, it's food.
I mean, my outlook may be negative or very harsh, but I think these people, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, they just need to be institutionalized. They need to be put in mental hospitals or something where they can, either be closely watched and taken care of, or, and that's what they used to do. But then they, raise those standards and close thousands of these mental hospitals across the country in the 90s, early 2000s.
Well, another thing with,
I mean, we have that abandoned one here in Salem. What's that place called? Fairview.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the ones that closed in that wave.
Mm-hmm.
That's why those places closed like that. They just weren't needed anymore.
Is backed on to the part where you were saying some of the homeless people have mental issues.
Yeah.
And then there's some parts in the past, Riverfront, the park here in Salem, and Minto Brown Park. There's a lot it's like a big homeless presence, especially at Minto Brown. At least there used to be.
Is there still? Or?
I'm not sure, but there's a lot of open woods out in Minto Brown, so they probably hide pretty well.
Yeah.
But there's been reports of girls jogging and being attacked.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Wow.
And I just want to clarify here too. I'm not trying to say, or any of us are trying to say that all homeless people are sexual violent predators who want to rape and murder you. No, that's not my point. It's just there are dangerous side effects or things that you should be aware of when it comes to this topic. And I mean, realistically, I don't even know the statistics on it. So a lot of this is just my flow of mind or train of thought. So
I'm just
I wouldn't say I'm some expert on it or anything.
With all the homeless people, I'm not saying all of them have problems, but people that have substance issues, that what Michaela was saying.
Yeah.
I'm curious of where they even find this stuff.
Oh, well, the
drugs?
No,
Yeah,
listen. Yeah. Yesterday, I was driving by, and it was by the mall, and I see this black Cadillac just parked right in front of
I've seen that too.
The whole line.
Oh, gosh.
I think you might have been with me.
No, I've seen it too. These
and
cars pull up.
These crazy hair looking girl just goes up to the car, and you know what she's doing.
She's
buying
obvious.
A
black Cadillac. I'm guessing it has completely blacked out windows.
Yeah, no, I was driving by there at midnight the other day, coming back from her house, dropping her off, and there was the same thing. It was some cars, pulled up there and people talking to some. It's midnight and there's a car pulled up. It's a little suspicious, but
wow.
I don't know why the cops don't hang out there. Couldn't they just sit there and stop that? It's not it's not hidden at all. There's nothing.
I feel there would have to be some sort of undercover. It can't just have just a completely obvious cop car sitting on the side of the street, a couple blocks away.
Well, I'm not even saying to catch them. I'm just saying to prevent that
from
because if there's a cop there, they're not going to go up and sell drugs in front of a cop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the assumption that's what was happening.
Well,
it seemed like that, but
if they really cared that much, then they would have helped them by now.
Yeah.
But really, what would be the point of that? They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
They're just going to come back.
I think the funniest thing about this whole situation is just the fact that this is in Salem, the capital of Oregon, a few streets down from the freaking Capitol building where the governor supposedly works at.
Yeah.
when that camping ban went in effect, the people started camping on the lawn in front of the Capitol.
In front of the Capitol.
Yeah. It's like they not even 2 hours later they were all gone. They got kicked out. Fast.
They took action right away.
Yeah.
Oh sure.
It's really funny. My mom lives, or she doesn't live. She works like in one of the state buildings and
down the street,
and she tells me all about that stuff.
Yeah.
But back on the drug thing, I live out. What happened? Oh,
I went to sleep.
I live out in the country. I don't really live like in a bad area, but one time.
But you still do all the drugs.
Just a note, kids. You don't have to live in the city to do all the drugs.
But
you've known to smoke the reefer.
Oh yeah,
the devil's lettuce.
But one time I was home and just randomly look out the window and there's just a random SUV parked in the driveway.
What the hell?
And it doesn't even look like even remotely like an undercover cop car or anything. It's like a tan GMC. It's like it doesn't even look like a Suburban or anything. It's just like, it's egg shaped.
Yeah.
But I walk out there. I put on some shoes and walk out there, and I'm cautious. I approached probably 15 feet away from the car, and I walk up 15 feet away from the window. I look at the guy. He immediately rolls down. I'm like, hey, how's it going? And he just not even like 2 seconds after I said that, he shows his badge, and he's what is it? He's like a drug investigator or something like that. I can't remember what the name was, but like even before he showed the badge, I can see like the military grade laptop.
Oh yeah.
On the stand in the car.
Hard rig.
Yeah.
What are those? I forget. Anyways,
but he pretty much told me the story that they were trying to catch a drug bust, do a drug bust because there was supposedly a drug house nearby, and they were trying to catch a sale going on. And I don't even think 2 or 3 months later, it ended up being like right down the street from my house.
Wait, was that one where a bunch of cops showed up and like got in a shootout or something?
I don't know about a shootout, but
okay.
It was a drug bust, and it was kind of funny. They actually, obviously, if a house like a drug house is eventually sold off in auction and people buy it, and the house looks pretty good right now, but it's just
from the outside.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's people living there now. It seems they redid a lot of stuff. It looks like an actual like not a drug house. So.
Yeah,
there was a drug bust by my house, and I remember.
Yeah, but you live down like Criminal Lane.
Okay, but listen, this was pretty crazy. So I was sitting in my kitchen, and I was with my friend at the time, and it was dark outside, maybe like 10 or 11 o'clock. And we're just sitting there. I think we might be like painting or something, and we see these like big flashing lights, and this is like the house in the corner of our house.
Yeah.
And we just hear, "Hands up, you're under arrest," and it was an actual helicopter.
What?
It was a helicopter, like, and then they had the whole house surrounded in cop cars.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
I know, and then I don't know what happened after that, but I remember that they all used to be kind of like punks.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad.
Anyone who listens to this podcast who's from the inner city is probably like, okay.
I honestly, I've never seen a police chopper in Salem, like, a chopper that actually says,
honestly,
police on the side of it.
I don't know if they have any.
Wow. I don't know.
I mean, you would assume they would.
Yeah, I'm assuming, but that's probably like a serious situation of what they're doing, like doing a whole arrest on whoever's in the house.
Yeah,
that's probably a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Like that was in Salem, so I guess they do have them, huh?
That's not the only drug house by my house, but they had another one. Like they were literally like they had to demolish the home because they were making crystal meth.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
dang. Probably just
In town.
The house was just
Near
gone.
my house.
So that reminds me of a story of this was like 2 or 3 years ago. I wasn't out there, but on the West Coast in Camp Lejeune, supposedly some Marines got caught cooking meth in their barracks room. Yeah, and my buddy was out there at the time, and I think this was after the fact, but he told me how he like couldn't go to his room in his barracks all day for like a full 24 hours because the cops like surrounded it and like taped it off, and there was like people investigating.
I wonder how long they were doing that. Like, I feel like
I don't know.
not very long. I feel like they'd be hard to keep secret.
What was it too? Like a year or two ago, even more recently than that, there was like a handful, I think 10 Marines that got caught smuggling illegals over the Mexican-American border.
Jeez.
Marines doing it. Like their side hustle is to bring, get off work on Friday, go to Mexico, bring some illegals across the border, go back to work on Monday. It's the normal week. Get shit on by your staff sergeant or whatever. Yeah, Marines are fucking crazy though sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah, you are pretty crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm relatively normal. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Be honest, how many times have you smuggled Mexicans and or done meth?
Okay.
At the same time?
Only 3 times. No. Yeah, at the
You
same
won't do
time. This is Breaking Bad.
But Michaela's story about the helicopter reminded me of something about there was a big drug bust here in Jefferson, Oregon. There's I don't want to say any names, but it was somebody from our high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
I think I know.
yeah. But he was caught with like so much stuff, like it would be like a idiotic thing to do. It was definitely like
It was in his car, right?
Yeah, it was definitely
Yeah.
a sale car. Like he was selling it from the car. Like,
See, I don't get, are these people that do this stuff just idiots? Like, are you completely brain dead? Or do they just, like, super, like, cocky, confident that they're not going to get caught? Because I feel like if I did that, I would, like, have an exit strategy, like how I'm going to, get rid of it if I'm getting pulled over or something. And then I'm not going to carry my whole entire fucking stash on me while I'm driving through town.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be the person. I'm not a drug dealer or anything, but if I had what he had on me, I would have been. I honestly would probably have been so nervous passing a cop, I would have accidentally crashed.
Yeah, like you gotta have balls of steel to do that. Like for real. Either that or you gotta be a complete brain dead idiot. I don't. I don't get it, but All right, well, I think we should probably start wrapping
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we do wrap it up, I want to tell that story.
Yeah, I was going to say that one story.
Yeah, so I was going to do it earlier, but then I kind of forgot because we got off topic. But
what's it about?
So
we were in my old van.
Yeah.
The old shitty one. And we were in my parents' parking lot, driveway.
Which one? Kaiser?
Kaiser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And and did we watch a movie or something?
We were watching some weird vampire anime for some reason. It was.
You tell the story.
Okay. Anyways, we were at Corins' parents, and
I think I know what this is about.
it was like the middle of summer, and I was on leave, and we were in the back of his van, and he didn't have any air conditioning. We were bored, and I think maybe we played Wii for a few seconds, and then we were just looking through shows on Netflix, and there was like some anime about like Van Helsing or something, or like Vampire Hunter.
Castlevania, I think it was?
Yeah, Castlevania.
Yeah.
Very violent. But so we just started watching that randomly. No reason, we just did. We're sitting there, and we got hot, so we took our shirts off. So we're sitting in the back of his van, shirtless, watching this show. And
I noticed there were some people outside. I was like looking through the window. I was like, oh, there's some people outside. I didn't think of it too much. But then we saw like, oh, there's actually like a lot of them. There was like what, almost 10 people.
It's probably like 6 or 7. It was a family. It was like, and they looked very conservative, like a Christian conservative, like not just like not like a Baptist type Christian conservative, but like almost like I don't know, like a Jehovah's Witness type. Mm-hmm. They're all dressed really nice, and then your parents were out there. His parents were out there talking to him, and we're looking out the window, and it's tinted, so we didn't think they were gonna come up or anything. And then his mom, Corin's mom, starts walking towards the van, and we're like, "Oh shit!" So
the doors open, you guys are all hot and steamy.
They're coming up, and Corin and I are like turning off the TV and like trying to put our shirts on because we realize it looks kind of weird. And she opens the door, and we're all like sweaty, like with our shirts. Literally, my shirt was like half on.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
so that was how we met the neighbors.
Yeah.
Actually, I've never heard that story before. I thought you were going to talk about the time you ripped your door off.
Oh, we won't talk about that. Anyways.
So yeah, like a bunch of my neighbors were over meeting us for the first time, and I get out with another guy and
with our shirts half on
in this old decrepit van. And that was an interesting way to meet the neighbors.
And what was it? They're like, "What are you doing?" "Just hanging out." Just hanging out. Oh god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've never felt so conscious about appearing gay before in my life. I was like, okay, these people think I'm gay now. Whatever. But yeah, that story's hilarious. All right.
Well, that's a good story.
Yeah, that was fun. We got like under a ton too.
Jeez.
All right, thanks for listening again.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, tune in whenever I decide to do another one. It's very bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Bye.